You explain your behavior one way, you explain other people's behavior completely in a different way. Now, the same situation, but two different rule books, and nobody told you that that rule book that you are using is very inaccurate and is being rigged against you. Now, if you remember, we've talked about this in different biases, but when it needs to be repeated because this is called attribution bias, and it is at the heart of quite a lot of biases. My name is Cussons, Africa's high performance thinking and strategic execution expert. Now, this is bias number 50 in our 225 plus bias series. Attribution bias is the systematic tendency to explain behavior, your behavior and others' behavior in two different ways, but the same behavior, consistently skewed, self-protective, and above all, contextually incomplete. Now, this attribution bias is the umbrella bias underlying several other biases. We've talked about fundamental attribution error, which is a bias. We've talked about actor observer bias. We've talked about self-serving bias. This attribution bias is at the heart of all of these biases. Okay, now, why is it so important that you understand this? For instance, your success is your skill. Your failure is orchestrated by others. Their success is because of luck or advantage. Then their failure is their character. How can you succeed? How can you actually work on your own disadvantages or your own inadequacies if you explain things this way? 4 explanations, 1 bias, 0 accuracy, 0 accountability. Now, it's very important you see its appearances in different places, like its occurrences in your business, in your relationship. Now, you have 2 competing businesses or entrepreneurs. One is thriving, you are not thriving. And then for you, the other person who is thriving has better connections, is lucky, has everything going for her. She's working from an undue advantage. In fact, her investors give her money on time and they don't even ask questions. But your own, the market is difficult, the macroeconomic issues are so bad and skewed against you, blah, blah, blah. The point is very simple. Every explanation, your own explanation, points outward. No one points inward. Now, how can you succeed in such circumstance? Because your explanations are not pointing inward. It's very, very difficult for you to do what? To correct any problem that will repeat next season or next year that will still put you in that position. The same in relationship. You see people in relationship, they just got out from a painful relationship and they now blame the other person. They blame the woman. She was emotionally unavailable. She never appreciated what I was doing for her. She's just, the woman said, all men are scum, blah, blah, blah. But people who are around watching the relationship know where you got it wrong as a man and know where you got it wrong as a woman. The point is, attribution error is at the heart of all this. And because of an unexamined life, you will travel this road severally and it will be self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, there are 3 moves I encourage you to make. You have to be honest, you have to allow it to be corrective, and you apply it immediately. Now, number 1 is that apply one attribution standard to everything, both yours and others. The same, judgment you use or scale you use to judge others, use it for yourself. Whatever explanation you extend to others' actions, extend that explanation to yourself too. Now, the moment you notice a double standard, stop there and then know that you are speaking from attribution error, and then you rework it. Now, the second one is that in every outcome, look both inwards and outward. Don't just look outward and then you say, it is them. Yeah, when you quarrel with people, when you're not getting the outcome you want, when you have an argument, when there are issues, always check what could be the problem, and then you work and around it. Ask questions like, what did I contribute to making this go right or go wrong? What circumstances, contributed to this outside my capacity and outside the other person's capacity? Now, you need to answer both questions honestly every single time, every single day. The third fix is what I call ask someone outside the story. You are biased about what could be the answer. Now it's time that you check somebody outside and ask him, what do you think about this? It could be a mentor, a coach, or a trusted peer who was not inside the experience, who can see the attribution distortions and be able to ask you the right question. Invite outside perspective, especially a dispassionate one, not somebody who maybe your employee or your wife or somebody you can control. Yeah. Now, as we conclude this, this is one of the most important truths about attribution error that I want you to understand. Now, that is that the explanation you accept determine the changes you will make about this thing. So if you always explain your failures outward, now you will never fix what is actually broken. And because you haven't fixed what is actually broken, it remains broken because you will always explain them out. You always explain others or other successes as luck. You never learn exactly what was working. You never learn what they did right. If you always explain your successes as purely your own, you never build the systems and teams that make success repeatable in every situation. Remember, we always say system is anything you put in place to save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. Accurate attribution is not humility for its own sake. Accurate attribution is the foundation of genuine growth. So in your business, in your relationships, and in the quality of every decision you make, from day to day, your attribution bias must be handled so that those decisions will come out nicer and all those. Now, this is bias number 50 in our 225 plus bias series. I believe that these 50 biases would have given you 50 upgrades in your thinking. Now, the series continues. I want you to share this today with someone who needs to look inward before they look outward, whether they are leaders, entrepreneurs, whoever they are. And I want you to share, like, subscribe, and make sure you save so that you are able to come back here. My name is Dr. Cussons. See you tomorrow. I believe